Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever found yourself just staring at a spreadsheet, a giant pile of data, wondering, how do I turn this into a story that people will actually understand? Well, if you have, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to walk through a complete handbook for Python data visualization, taking you from that very first line of code all the way to a polished professional dashboard. So, think of this as your own personal guided tour. Every single chart you're about to see isn't just a pretty picture. It's the real deal, the direct output of Python code. This is all about being practical, a step-by-step guide to bringing your data to life. All right, here's our game plan. First up, we're going to pick our tools, choosing the right library for the job. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty, the anatomy of a plot. After that, we'll take a tour through a whole gallery of different visualizations, learn how to pull them all together into a pro-level dashboard, and we'll wrap up with a handy decision tree that makes picking the right chart super simple. Okay, let's start with the toolkit. When you're working in Python, you've got this incredible set of visualization libraries at your fingertips. But here's the thing, each one is kind of like a different artist's brush. Knowing which one to grab for what you're trying to paint, that's the very first step to creating a masterpiece. This table really breaks it all down. So think of Matplotlib as the absolute foundation. It gives you total fine-grained control, but yeah, you gotta build everything from the ground up. Seaborn is like the slick stylist that's built on top of Matplotlib. It lets you make gorgeous statistical charts with way less code. Then you've got Plotly, which is the undisputed champ of interactivity, perfect for web dashboards where people can hover and zoom. And finally, there's Altair, which has this really cool declarative grammar. It's a super logical way to build complex, interconnected charts. Look, if that feels like a lot, don't worry. It really just boils down to this simple rule of thumb. If you're just starting to explore your data and need to see what's in there fast, Seaborn is your best friend. Do you need pixel-perfect control for a scientific paper or a report? That is Matplotlib's territory. And if you're building a dashboard for other people to use, you're going to want to go with Plotly. All right, we've picked our tools. Now, before we start actually building anything, we need to understand the blueprint. Every single chart, no matter how wild or complex it looks, is built from the same basic parts. This is perfect because it shows you exactly how the code connects to the final image. You see that line plt.figure? That creates the big blank canvas. Then, fig.addSubplot carves out the actual area where we're going to draw. From there, every single line targets a specific piece. You can see how AxSpines controls the borders and AxLegend places the legend. You are literally the architect of your plot. So, let's jump into the gallery. The best way to think about charts is that each one is designed to answer a specific kind of question. You have a question about your data, and believe me, there's a perfect chart out there to help you find the answer. First question. How do you see a trend over time? Easy, a line chart. Now, on the slide, you can see the code and the plot it creates, but look closer. It's not just a boring line. See that bit of code, ax.annotate? That one little line is what adds the peak event label, turning a simple chart into a real piece of analysis, a real story. Next up, what is the real shape of your data? You know, a simple average can be so misleading. The answer here is a histogram. I mean, look at this chart. If you just took the average, you would never know that there are actually two distinct groups here. Two peaks. That's called a bimodal distribution. The histogram tells you the whole story, not just the headline. And this really gets to the heart of it. A distribution shows you what's truly going on. It uncovers the hidden truths, the skews, the outliers, those weird bimodal behaviors we just saw. All the stuff that a single average number would completely hide from you. So what if you need to see how multiple things relate to each other all at once? Well, you start with a simple scatterplot. But now, check out the code. This is where the magic happens. By adding hue, which maps a variable to color, and size, which maps another to the size of the dots, you've just transformed a flat 2D chart into this incredible 4D exploration tool. All of a sudden, you're seeing complex relationships in a single glance. It's so powerful. Now, when you're comparing different categories, you've got options. A box plot is awesome for a quick, rigid statistical summary. It gives you the median, the quartiles, and any outliers. But if the shape of the data inside that category is what's important, like if you want to see if there's a hidden bimodal distribution, then you need a violin plot. It's basically a box plot with the full density curve wrapped around it. Okay,
First up, let's tackle a classic challenge, visualizing composition. I mean, how do you clearly show how all the little pieces of your data make up the big picture? And let's be honest, do it without using that same old pie chart. This idea of composition analysis is all about understanding that part-to-whole relationship. It's totally fundamental. Think about a company's sales. How much is coming from each product? Or a website's traffic? Which channels are bringing in the most people? Getting that visual right, well, that's crucial, but it can be surprisingly tough to nail. So let me introduce you to our two heroes for this job, the donut chart and the tree map. You can think of these as the modern, super-powered alternatives to the pie chart. They are specialist tools, and they're designed to show composition with way more clarity and flexibility. So, when do you use which one? Well, the donut chart isn't just a pie chart with a hole in it. That space in the middle is prime real estate. You can pop a huge number right in there, like your total revenue, giving instant context. The tree map, on the other hand, is your absolute go-to when you've got tons of categories, or if your data has layers. Imagine visualizing a company's entire budget, from the big departments all the way down to tiny projects. A tree map just makes that click.
Okay, so we've seen how to look at the parts of a whole. But what about those invisible threads that connect all of our different variables together? Let's move on to our next challenge, uncovering those hidden relationships with the heat map.
Here's the thing. Some of the most powerful, game-changing insights are actually buried in the relationships between variables. A simple line chart won't show you how your sales are tied to marketing spend and customer satisfaction scores all at the same time. To see that, you need a totally different tool. And here it is. The heat map is the ultimate diagnostic tool for exactly this situation. It uses color to instantly show you the strength and direction of the relationships. See that deep blue square there, the one at negative 0.85? That's basically the chart screaming, hey, high negative correlation here. It means as one thing goes up, the other goes down. This is what people call collinearity, and checking for it is an absolutely essential step before you build any kind of predictive model, because two variables telling the same story can really mess up your results. And now for our final, and I'd say most comprehensive tool. We've looked at parts of a whole, we've looked at one-to-one relationships, but what if you need to do a full-scale investigation? What if you want to see, well, everything all at once? Let's talk about the pair plot. Yeah, that's exactly the question a pair plot is built to answer. It's for those times when you need a complete bird's-eye view of your entire dataset, so you can see how every single variable is interacting with every single other variable. Okay, I know what you're thinking. This looks like a lot, right? But stick with me, because it's an incredibly rich grid of information. Let's just break it down. First, just look at the diagonal running through the middle. Those plots show you the distribution, or, the shape of each individual variable. Now look at all the other squares. Each one is a scatter plot, showing the relationship between a pair of variables. And here's a little pro tip. See that corner equals true trick? It's awesome. It just cleans up the whole chart by getting rid of the redundant mirror image half. So how do you actually read this thing without getting lost? It's really just 3 simple steps. 1, always start with the diagonal. You got to understand each variable by itself first. 2, scan the grid. Just let your eyes wander over the scatter plots. Are you seeing straight lines, tight clumps of dots, or just random noise? And 3, look for the loners, the outliers. Those individual points that don't quite fit the pattern can often be the most interesting stories in your data. That's where the real gold is hidden. And just like that, you've added 3 incredibly powerful charts to your data visualization toolkit. And remember, these aren't just for looking pretty. They are specific tools for answering specific and often very complex questions you have about your data. So let's wrap this all up with a quick cheat sheet for you. If you're asking, how is this data made up? Boom, you grab a donut for KPIs or a tree map for hierarchies. If you need to know, how are my variables related? The heat map is your best friend. And if you absolutely need the full picture, how do all my variables interact with each other? Well, that's when you bring out the big gun, the pair plot. So the next time you open up a new data set, which one of these tools are you going to use first to uncover the story that's hidden inside?
Okay, let's talk about a problem that everyone who's worked with data runs into. You've got a massive data set, right? Hundreds of thousands of points. You try to make a scatter plot, and you just get this. An unreadable, solid blob of ink where you can't see anything. So how do you find the pattern inside that mess? Well, the solution is brilliant. You stop trying to plot every single point, and instead you start to visualize the density. This slide shows 2 amazing ways to do it. On the left, you've got a hexbin plot. It groups points into little hexagons and colors them based on how crowded they are. And on the right, a density contour plot, which basically creates a topographical map of your data's density. Both of these turn that useless ink blub into a crystal clear picture. Okay, so we've pretty much mastered single plots. The next level is to combine them, to weave them together into one cohesive story. This is all about synthesis, creating a professional dashboard that tells a complete story. And the secret weapon for this is a tool in Matplotlib called GridSpec. It lets you totally break free from those boring, rigid rows and columns of charts. Just look at the code. You can literally define a grid and then tell each plot, hey, you occupy these cells, and another plot, you get these bigger cells. It allows you to create these beautiful, custom, hierarchical layouts to build a true analytical infographic. Whew, we have covered a ton of ground. So to bring it all home, we've got one last tool for you. This is the thing that ties everything we've learned together, a practical little guide to help you make the right choice every time. Seriously, think of this decision tree as a GPS for your data. You just start at the top with a simple question. What are you trying to show? Let's walk through one path. Okay, I'm trying to show a comparison. The tree asks, is it a trend over time or magnitude? Let's say it's magnitude. And boom, the GPS points us right to a bar plot. It's a simple, foolproof way to get to the right destination. So there you have it. You've got the toolkit, you've got the blueprint, and you've got the GPS. You are fully equipped to go beyond just making charts and start telling powerful, insightful stories. So I guess the only question left to ask is, what amazing story is just waiting to be told in your data?